Hey everyone, Sir Jellybean here, and today we have Empire of the Ants, a brand new strategy slash platformer slash adventure game. It's a nice mix of many different types of games. So I recently got given a key, I'll come up front with that, and I thought I'd dive into it. Now this is not my usual type of game, so I went into it a little bit kind of thinking, oh, what do I expect? And I gotta say, it was a truly beautiful experience. I gotta say, fantastic game in many elements, visual, audio. It is a beautiful game, as you can see on the screen. And it's a bit of a different one, Empire of the Ants. So we're going to break down the various elements, but I definitely think it's something that's worth a look, depending on what type of games you like. I think there's a bit of something for everyone here. So let's dive straight in. So first of all, the best bit of Empire of the Ants for me was the visuals. The game is photogenic, I believe, or photorealistic. I don't know the exact term, but it is truly beautiful. And bear in mind, I'm just running this on like kind of basic gaming laptop. It still looked fantastic, and I think I'm on low quality here. And as you can see, the game is very beautiful. So obviously, if you have a really good computer or rig, you're going to be able to play this basically looking almost real. It is fantastic. The ants look great. The other insects that you bump into look great. All the textures, the terrain, it's phenomenal. When I first saw it, I was like, no way this is real. No way this is going to look as good as the trailers. And it does. And you got to say, massive respect to the team for doing that, because they could have done the kind of, oh, we're going to do an anime-ish kind of route, this cartoony route, but they went, no, we're going pure realistic, and they really have done attention to detail. One of the best things was seeing a slug go across like this tire, and it's just like, whoa, that looks so cool. And like to be down at that level of the insects really does look absolutely badass. And also the I don't mind creepy crawlers, but I don't like some of them. When certain things are skittering, even my skin was kind of going, ugh. So it kind of actually put me in that position, which is kind of good. If you're a bit of an insect, you're a bit scared of insects, it might not be the best game for you in that sense, but it definitely looks fantastic. No one can say this is a bad looking game. It is beautiful. This is kind of the industry standard of what games should be aiming for when you're looking for realism, especially when it's people talk about, oh, we've really pushed the next level of graphics. This is it. It looks fantastic. Absolutely beautiful game. The next really good thing about the game is the audio. So the visuals are fantastic, but the audio is really good as well. So, you can hear the ants' legs skittering on the hills. Hear bees buzzing over you. They kind of sound like helicopters as well. I was kind of thinking, like, am I in like a Vietnam game with a Huey flying over me? Obviously, you got to imagine yourself down to an ant's level. That's probably what they would sound like fluttering past. There's, all the wind blowing, and like when you drop into water, which is obviously lethal to you, you kind of splash. When you jump onto different objects, there's a nice sound. Everything sounds really crisp, really good. Different insects have the really good kind of their sounds. And it's also quite funny when you talk about audio, the like dialogue that fits into this. So when you talk to other ants, it's all makes sense. And then when you, like, for instance, you talk to this random bug, it just goes brr, brr. It just doesn't make sense to you, which kind of makes sense because insects can talk to their own kind of species through pheromones. Other species wouldn't make sense. Kind of like us trying to, speak to a giraffe, and it just kind of look at you like, no, I'm not getting it, mate. But yeah, the audios were great. I really liked it, and the visuals and audios combined really make you feel like you're in an ant's kind of body. You're running around in the forest. Everything's massive. You're this tiny little creature, and you're on like a proper adventure, which I really enjoyed it. To be fair, I'm not normally a platformer guy, but leaping from tree to tree with the audio and visuals mixed together kind of put me in a position where I was like, actually, this is fun. So it's like probably the first game that's ever made it where I've actually enjoyed the platform elements. So that was superb. Really good audios. 10 out of 10 on the audios. Another great thing about the game was the learning element of the game. So as you're moving around, you'll uncover like various objects like tires, footballs, jugs, and obviously these are exotic to the ants, so you get kind of like a funny description. But also the insects, you get like a little description, nothing too in depth, kind of like, oh, wasps, similar to ants. I think there's ladybugs. They're horrible to the ants because they eat their aphids. But I would actually like them to expand this point, like, because I imagine this is a game that would probably be good for like younger kids as well, because it's not too intense. So you could kind of turn the encyclopedia bit into an actual description of the insects. So you can kind of use this as a game slash learning tool. So I think that'd be really good, because I actually, like, obviously I know a little bit about bugs and stuff, but I didn't really know what an aphid was. Never really looked into it. I thought, oh, I'll Google that. But it would have been nice if they actually had like a page saying this is an aphid. Tell me about the certain species. I think they could expand on that. But I did kind of like it. Kind of got me a bit more interested in nature. Like I've gone and looked into what actually is a ladybug. Like we all know what you call them ladybugs, I call them ladybirds because I'm English. But you're like, oh, what the hell is that? And I've actually looked into it and gone, oh, that's actually quite interesting. So I do think they've missed a little bit of a trick there, but obviously as they expand it, definitely get that encyclopedia bigger and get those bugs description in there, plants descriptions, like expand the learning and educational element. I think that'd be really good for this type of game because it fits in really well. And obviously that then you can kind of use it as an excuse for kids to play and say, oh, look, I'm learning about nature and bugs when they're actually playing a fun game, which is cool. Now, when it comes to the main gameplay elements, I'd say the biggest point is it is a story, narrative, adventure game. So you talk to your queen, you talk to various ants, and they send you on missions. And there is they're in kind of locked into small maps. It's not a truly open world game. They're kind of largish levels where you can kind of venture around and take a little bit of a different route, but you're fairly set. It's fairly linear in that sense. But it's fun. You can jump from tree trunk to tree trunk, lily pad to lily pad. So you avoid water because obviously you're an ant, you die. But I enjoyed the platforming. It was fun, and with the videos and the audio in there, it is a nice adventure experience. It's very relaxed, very chill. It's not very intense. Don't expect Gates of Hell level strategy intensity or StarCraft. This is a very kind of laid back experience. But yeah, I enjoyed the story. It was quite fun. It was quite informative, and you did feel like part of the colony because they constantly calling you sister. Kind of put me back to Space Marine where they kept calling each other brother, but this is insect terms. So, imagine Starship Troopers, but you're the bugs. This time the bugs are the goodies, which is kind of fun. But yeah, the platforming's good. I've got to say, as an adventure game, it is superb in that sense. Now, when it comes to the combat and strategy part of the game, now it's a bit of a mixed bag. So it's very rock, paper, scissory straight away, like workers beat gunners, which are the range units, gunners beat warriors, which are your kind of fighting unit, and warriors smash workers. There's also these kind of big beetles thrown in, which are classed as super predators, kind of fun name. And there's various like aphid support units. There's different levels of upgrades for units. So there is a little bit of complexity there, but it's rock, paper, scissors. This beats that beats that. Everything has a pro and a con. And all the units move around very similar. So they can go over whatever terrain you can, because obviously you can jump from anything to another thing. You can run around on any terrain, you can go upside down. So that's quite simple for movement. And the combat's okay visually, looks stunning. Like you see bodies getting thrown everywhere. It's freaking brutal. You hear them fighting. You hear the little insect kind of noises. You're like, Jesus Christ! I never knew insect warfare was so brutal. It made me want to actually watch some ant documentaries and watch ants just demolishing other insects. So that was cool. But it might be a bit boring for people who are more Gates of Hell fans or like StarCraft 2 level intensity with lots of clicking. It's not that. It's very laid back, like the adventure style. It's a more chilled strategy game. I'd say it's part of the game, but it's not the main aim of the game. Now, there is a bit of base building as well. You have these various nests. There's economy, there's powers, there's information, there's defenses, and then there's actually building of the individual units. So there is a little bit of difference there. You can kind of approach it in your own way. But most missions, you'll kind of be like, well, I need this many warriors, I need this support unit. It kind of tells you what to build. But there are objectives, like you take out the enemy's nest, and the overall objective on the strategy elements is to destroy the enemy HQ. So, for instance, the mission on screen at the moment, I was helping my allies out. There was 2 ant colony allies, or 2 separate kind of groups, and 2 separate groups of termites. And as they're fighting, you can go and assist them, but my thing was to get behind the lines, knock out some nests, and then hit the HQ, which basically completely shut down the termites and won me the match, or won me the battle. That was fun, and you use your powers, like you can make the enemies run away, you can heal your units, you can increase their aggression, but it's okay, but it will get repetitive quite quickly. Now, I know there's plans to expand the strategy, because like most games these days, unfortunately, everything isn't released on release, even though it's not early access, and the game looks great, and it sounds great. There's still a long way to go in terms of other content to be added. But yeah, strategy is fine. It will get a bit repetitive. And like when you build things, you can boost up, you can spend more food or wood, your resources to increase the speed things are built. But sometimes you will spend a couple of minutes just kind of sat there going like, well, I can't do anything. I need more units to approach the next nest, but I need to wait for more food. So it can get a little bit like, it's a bit boring at times. But if you're more of a wanting a chilled strategy game, it's fine. For more intense strategy players, I think you would get bored with this, but see where it is in 6 months' time, and that might change. But still, decent strategy combat. Good fun to watch ants rip insects apart. The AI occasionally does try to ambush you, but it's fairly simple. But not bad at all. It's decent, but nothing special in terms of that kind of part of the game. So another big thing to talk about, especially in kind of modern game times, is the content. What is actually in the game right now? Now, there is a fair bit of stuff they've released on a good amount. There's obviously the main story campaign. There is a skirmish mode. There is multiplayer. There is kind of like collectibles in the game, so there's things to go back for. If you've played through the game once, you might think, right, I want to get there. I think they're called golden tortoise beetles, and obviously there's various units. You even get like hornets to support you. So as you play through, you do unlock more stuff, and it does get a bit more interesting. So there is that kind of replayability there. Now, there is more content coming, and this is why I say it's not an early access game, I don't believe. But obviously, most games these days release, like for instance, Space Marine 2, which I absolutely love, didn't release with the Horde mode, which is shocking. Same thing here. But what I'd say is if you're not interested right now, do chuck it on your wish list and maybe keep an eye out. So we're going to go through the roadmap quickly, just kind of show what is coming. So there's going to be a spring update with online co-op for the Horde mode and 2v2 AI mode, which would be great. There's going to be a challenge mode, which I imagine will be like take on so many bugs or do this. New units, new powers, new maps. Then the summer, new PvP mode, new faction, new powers, new maps. Then the fall, the photo mode, which the fact that there's no photo mode already, that was a bad miss, developers, because the game is, like I say, the best thing about the game is the visuals. Jesus Christ, I literally wanted to like just look. Sometimes I literally just stood there 5 minutes going, this looks sick. So that is get the photo made done quick as possible. That'd be great. New game mode, new unit, new power, new map. And then winter, another game mode, new faction, new power, new map. So there's lots of content coming. So I do think, give it a year's time, this game will be a lot better than it is now. I say it's a good game now. I definitely say it's worth about, I think it's about £24. I think that's about 4 or 5 pints of beer. It's worth your money. But I'd say in 6 months to a year, it will definitely be worth your money. And there'll be a lot more in the game. I do think the biggest thing, the fact that there's no horde mode, especially as you're playing as like ants and stuff, is a shame. But like I say, once the photo mode is there, I'd say it's a definite buy for people. I think if you're really into photography as well and you're really into like cool kind of artsy games, it's beautiful for that. But there's enough to keep you busy. Now, is it worth your money? Yeah, like I said, I think it's a good game. I think it's fun. It's not really my type of game, I'm not going to lie. It's not something I'd go out of my way to play every day like it's hell. But it did keep me interested, and it's something that every time there's an update, I will revisit this game. So come 2 or 3 months when the spring update comes, I'm going to play it again. Come summer, come fall, come winter, I'll be back. Well, fall, autumn, for some English. But yeah, I will play this game again, and I will actually, I'd like to play some. I don't know anyone who's got the game. I love to play some PvP against someone else. I think it'd be interesting just to see what it's like. So yeah, it's going to bring me back. It's one of those games where I think you'll play for like a few days, and then you'll go, maybe I'm not that bothered. And then something else will come out and you'll be back on it. So I think you get your money's worth. I think you'll get enough time in the game. You can easily spend 10, 12 hours to get through the story. Probably a bit more depending on how much you adventure. But yeah, it's really fun. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I got sent the game. And it's definitely going to get me playing more kind of platformer games, things that are out of my comfort zone, because Empire of the Ants has kind of proven to me it's not always just about like, well, for me it's normally World War II or shooting games. There's other games out there with different elements that can really impress me, and it has impressed me. So, beautiful game, great audio. Just needs a little bit more content and make that strategy, the combat side, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more, I'd say, less waiting, more killing. And I think you'll sell it to more people. But yeah, a good game. Definitely check it out. There's going to be links in the description to the Steam store. Have a look on the website. I'll link that as well. And dive in and, check out a few more reviews as well as always. See if it's worth your time and money. And, give it a go. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And thank you to the developers for giving me a key. Appreciate that. And I will see you on the next video. Take it easy, guys.